So we are just talking about the options that we have, which is the option of, do we go for a new party altogether? Now, with INEC as a department of APC, you know that they put unnecessary roadblocks to the opposition and engages in a lot of rough tackle.
But it's clear that INEC is not a department of the APC.
Umpire.
That's
the electoral umpire of the country.
Yeah.
Electoral umpire.
Well, the electoral body.
Well, I'm going to go into that. But I just want to talk about the option that we are weighing.
Okay.
If we are in a nation where rule of law is guaranteed under this kind of INEC, it would have been preferred to have a new party altogether, registered, where everybody will move in. But like I said, when the INEC has the tendency of inordinately delaying what is apparent, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So that is why we contemplate also trying to choose from existing political parties that will align with our vision for a great Nigeria that is built on democratic principles. We're not just looking at the next election.
Just my people, as the halt, you don't have to know this Kenneth Okonkwo now just a bunch of knowledge. This man is too intelligent. Just watch as he expose INEC, expose APC, because he don't talk say INEC is a department under the APC, and different things when he talk say INEC they do not to make the coalition whole, so that we know we see a better Nigeria. Just watch, share, drop a thought in the comment section.
We're looking at building a true democratic society that will respect your sovereignty to choose your leaders through free, fair, credible, and periodic election, respecting the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, ensuring independent and free press. Of course, you know how much some of you have been arrested for no reason, for just saying what should be said. Then, of course, independent and impartial judiciary, etc. But most importantly, the rule of law. Can you imagine a governor in Akwa Ibom State, for instance, sacking a media house with a journalist for broadcasting a news which he made himself? And we think it is normal?
So we don't deviate from the issue.
So the coalition,
is really
like
about
I said,
coalition and
it is the options we
right.
are weighing, and we are common in it. So the individual difference has not even arisen, because we've not talked about who's going to run or who's not going to run.
But the signals that people are getting, that Nigerians are getting, is that, like they say, too many cooks spoil the broth, but that's not even particularly the issue here. That all the people who want to coalesce, who want to come together, they all have this personal interest of wanting to be on the ticket. In fact, to be the front runner on the ticket. That's what's causing this seeming delay of coming out clearly to say, look, we now have a coalition, whether it's a new party or it's adopting what you politicians call a special purpose vehicle. Yeah.
Good.
It looks like it's being delayed,
yes.
But some are saying it might just be dead on arrival. As a matter of fact, let me quote the statement that you made some weeks back,
yes.
that no single candidate
Absolutely.
can beat Tinubu alone in 2027.
And I repeat it here and stand by it. And that is why you said no single candidate. And that's why we are going into a coalition. And I am saying that any candidate out of that coalition who goes it alone fails alone automatically by whatever name called. But if the candidate goes, it may make it more difficult, not impossible, for the coalition to win. So there is a probability the coalition can win. Easier if all of them work together. More difficult if any candidate leaves.
What will that ticket look like?
The ticket of the coalition?
Yes.
That's exactly.
Is it even on the table? Is it clear now?
That is exactly why I'm saying that there is no way we could have had any individual differences, because as a coalition, we have not talked whatsoever about who is going to run or who is not going to run. Whatsoever, as a coalition. If individual candidates are talking to each other, that is personal to them,
All
not
right.
as the coalition.
There's also this insinuation pointed that there seems to be a lack of urgency as to this coalition drive. They've mentioned some individuals who they feel even their personal interest, like Ngozi has pointed out, will make this coalition fail from the start. For instance, they say Peter Obi insists he's still a member of the Labour Party, yet seems to be talking to the coalition. And Atiku has always wanted to be president. He has not shied away from it. And El Rufai has left the APC to join the SDP. He's talking with the coalition. And Emechi also, they say, has ambition. So it looks like a lot of personal egos and people who are interested in power are part of the coalition. So that's why they think, this personal interest will kill this coalition from the beginning. But as a member as well, you've proposed an open North-South primary with a 4-year presidency as a compromise.
Yes.
Given the competition among all of these people I've mentioned and the pointers that are out there, have you tabled this to the coalition, and is it being received at all?
Now, ask me this question sometime in the future.
Why not now?
That's what I'm telling you. That I first of all
is that not postponing the doomsday?
No, I first of all define what coalition means. Coalition is not a political party. It is not. It is people, I said interested parties coming together to talk for common goal. So until that stage is passed and a platform is chosen and a political party is chosen, and I can tell you this is the political party, and then that's when I can tell you this is our plan. Don't bother. The time for individual differences must come. I am telling you, I'm very frank. By the time you start addressing the individual ambitions, that individual difference will inevitably come under the platform. Then how you manage it or not manage it is what is going to have the problem.
So does that not speak to the lack of
that was
urgency?
why I recommended
Let's
a
quickly
free
bring
primary where everybody will be allowed to contest without anybody being pressured to step down on any basis.
All right, let me put you on hold. We'll have to bring in this report very quickly so that you can maybe even respond to it. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has expressed optimism that despite its challenges, the People's Democratic Party will not die but remain as a viable opposition. Well, in Abuja, the minister hosted members of the party under the aegis of concerned stakeholders of the PDP. Now, those at the meeting included members of the defunct G5 governors, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Samuel Otom, and Okezie Ikpeazu, with the exception of Seyi Makinde. Now, it was not immediately clear if he was invited. Now, others at the meeting include the embattled PDP National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, former Senate Minority Leader Philip Aduda, serving, and former federal and state lawmakers and some zonal and state party executives. Now, Wike says the concerned stakeholders are those who have always believed and who still believe in the survival of the PDP. Okay, that's another matter, an interesting one too, for that matter. Maybe you have a response to that. But let me throw this in very quickly. You once, okay. Now, you once said that Tinubu, Atiku, Obi should step aside from running for president. Do you still believe that?
Now, you see the difference between personal opinion and the collective. When you are moving into a coalition, you subordinate your own personal interest to the collective will. And so I said it, even as at that time I said it. I said in a coalition, if I am part of it, whoever is thrown up in a coalition, I will support the person. But personally, I would have preferred a new set of leaders. But you see, when you are fighting an incumbent, it's a different ball game. You will need the unity of everybody in order to succeed. You can't, I'm a Democrat. I can't force my own opinion. I stand by my opinion. But when you now have other people in a coalition, they also have their own opinion. They will present strong reasons. But do you know one thing about democracy? Eventually it operates in the comparative, not in the superlative. But at the end of the day, the choices you have do not include even the ones you wish to come. You can't go and force anybody from his home to come and contest. So from the available, pool, one thing I have always said is that Peter Obi or Atiku will be better than this regime. That I am sure of.
Okay, so
Because Atiku was the vice president during Obasanjo's regime. This regime has beatified every regime that was before them.
So you're okay with
Any politician that can take us even to Obasanjo's days will be celebrated as a hero.
You're okay with the old guard, as long as they meet your conditions. Is what you're
Very
saying.
well.
Great, but I go back to that sense of urgency or the
Yes.
lack of it thereof, and I really want you to speak to that. Also, I wanted you to speak to. Can you speak to the urgency? I think I lost my train of thought now.
All right.
The sense of urgency.
Now,
Yes.
they say, I'm using legal analogy. Justice delayed, for instance, is justice denied. But justice rushed is justice crushed. If in your haste to be urgent, you fall into the trap of not negotiating very well and carrying everybody along, that is where that your statement that is dead on arrival comes in. You have to. The urgency is needed, but you have to be very methodical.
Great, I remember my point now. You
ahead.
say individuality has not come into the conversation
No,
yet.
not for now.
Okay, so address
We have
this
common.
that is also out.
Yeah.
Two political parties that have been put up, the ADC and the ADA, registration of one and using the other. There's also the SDP on ground saying they are the beautiful bride that should be used for the coalition.
Yeah.
Why is it that you have not been able to meet one? I mean, a camp is pushing for a registration of one party, another camp is pushing for an existing party. I mean, if individuality has not come into play,
Why is it taking long?
why is it
for that
taking so
decision
difficult
be
to
taken?
pick a party? After all, it's a vehicle.
Now, like I told you, all these stories, they are not reflective of the facts. We have committees set up, different committees addressing the different issues. There is a committee to know whether we can register a new party.
They passed their deadline. They passed their deadline.
No, that's
Your
what-
committee
but-
has passed the deadline.
But I told you, that's why we have different options. So we have the committee that is negotiating with different parties that are already existing. It is those ones that meet our criteria that we will eventually choose. So the coalition has